Hey Clashers, Supercell is releasing a new epic equipment today for the Grand Warden, the Heroic Torch. This equipment allows your troops to walk through walls and they're receiving a speed increase on top of that. The question now is, should you get this equipment from the medal event? Is it any good? And should you upgrade it or put your ores into a different equipment? I will talk about the pros and cons of this new equipment and as well my point of view if you should upgrade it or not at the end of the video. But I highly recommend, as always, to use the magic snacks from the free-to-play event pass to test those different equipment in a max state so you can tell if it fits your personal playstyle. But if you want to speed up the process with the ores and buy the event pass, make sure that you're supporting your favorite content creator out there. With code iTzu, you're supporting me and this channel, and I highly appreciate that. But let's get started with the first negative point to then switch over to the positive things for this equipment. The first issue for this equipment is just the timing, which means you typically try to use it on the back end of a base to really move through the compartments quickly. Because in the beginning, you can rely on wall breaks and as well your siege machines, troop thrower, log launcher, all of those different kinds work quite nicely. But this already tells or shows that most of your troops are down by now. Especially your rage towers can really give you a hard time and your troops are going down really quick. So I've seen a lot of suggestions of using mass super yetis, mass regular yetis, mass titans, like something like that. It is really tricky if you just use it in a mass approach. Don't get me wrong, it can work. It is just not really consistent versus some type of bases where rage towers are taking down half your army before you can even get into the core. As well, a lot of people have suggested the mass Valkyrie and they have said 20 seconds are totally enough to get a 3-star and take down the base. So I thought I would just do that and I would combine it with the Royal Champion Charge. I would just speed this up because you have seen plenty of those already. And then we're going to have the mass Valkyries. I will have King and Queen on one side with the Siege Barracks and then the Valkyries on the other side to make sure that we're not having any time issues. So King, Queen are in and now the Valkyries. Making sure that they're evenly spread and we're having them into the base. I use the Eternal Tome here because otherwise Valkyries are way too squishy. They're going down way too fast. But even with the Eternal Tome, not many are surviving. Yes, you could argue that a big group of them were on the left side. But even then, I mean, they're going down so quick and they did not even reach the Giga Bomb right there. Heroes, Tornado Traps, maybe even the defensive Clan Castle, which could have then still been an issue. It's just a really big problem for this equipment. But there is a solution, which means you can really counter the timing of clan cuts and such thing with a couple of different approaches. The first one is just adding a ward walk to it to make sure that you're funneling your troops, but at the same time, you can as well then have the healers providing enough protection for your troops to get into the base, staying alive, and then you can convert the attack into the Heroic Torch ability. So we're doing exactly that right now. Having the Warden Walk in the beginning, you can't use the Fireball because then the entire ability would be wasted as the Heroic Torch is getting activated with the Fireball. But with this one, we're just going with the Rage Gem. We're going with the Heroic Torch to have a nice opening, a nice funneling to then enter with the Super Yetis and Electro Titans. On this one, you can really change things around as you want when it comes down to your main push. You can go with only Super Yetis. You can go with only Electro Titans. You can have a different combination that is really up to you. I really like the different hybrid combination between Electro Titans and the Super Yeti. And that works out quite nicely for me. For this one, we're now pushing in, having the entry point. The important thing here is that your Warden stays protected. Because remember, if your Warden goes down, that's bad news. That's another thing which you have to be careful of. If your Warden goes down, the entire ability is wasted. We're now entering, funneling with King and Queen on the outside, and I'll just push into the base. Relying on the Troop Thrower to open up the first couple of compartments, using the Rage as well to keep our Super Yetis alive. And now you might wonder, why do you have 3 Rages even though you're using the Rage Tome? The simple answer here is that first things first, I want to speed up the Warden Walk in the beginning, so the Rage Gem is great for that. The second thing is just making sure that I get quickly into the base, and then I have a lot of Rages for my main push, or I can speed up as well my Warden Walk in the beginning. Both works completely fine. On this one, we're able to overpower the core where we were not stuck on the ice golems and now can power through the back end. Yes, you could now even think about replacing that jump spell with another spell because the troop thrower is still going. But this equipment speeds things up in the middle part by quite a bit, so that is really a positive thing. And this base is completely crushed. Obviously, now the question for everyone out there is, do you think I could have had the same result with, for example, the Eternal Tome? Or do you think this only worked because we used the Heroic Torch? Because that is a really important question. Just because something works does not mean it's the best. But hey, we're still talking about the strong points for this equipment. So let's just keep going with another option. I have showed you already in yesterday's video that a mass Royal Champion Charge is working really nicely with this equipment together. But you can as well do shorter Royal Champion Charges with one important thing here. And that is, long Royal Champion Charge will eventually make it to the clan castle and lure it out most likely. But with the shorter one, we have to really concentrate on taking that clan castle out. Which means we have to just intentionally waste hit points on our Royal Champion to lure out the clan castle. Because if we face ice golems in the middle of the base, that's not going to end well for us. Let me tell you that. It is not going to be a fun time. For this one, we're just charging in, obviously going into a bait, like all of those corners are baited with the Royal Champion charges nowadays. Maybe another reason you should go for the Warden Walk variation. But now, losing a lot of hit points, but I had to we had to lure out the clan castle. If we face that in the core and the Invis tower is reloading in the core, good night. This is going to be a horrible, horrible attack then. So, we had to lure it out, have the Super Yetis in again. We have the Queen and King for the funneling purpose. And then we can just take down the clan castle, have our push going, and then as we enter the core, obviously triggering the Invis tower before, as we're entering the core, we can then use the ability to move in, so we do not need a jump whatsoever. That being said, that's exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. The Royal Champion right now, I can't use it because there's just too much damage in the middle, and she is so low on hit points, so I instead decided to use her on the outside, use the ability right away, so we have her safe. But the core is looking really good for us right now, right? We have the strong push, we have the Super Yetis alive that we're able to enter to the core, no issue whatsoever, and with that, this base is completely gone. Again, the question there is, was this possible because of the equipment of the Heroic Torch, or was it because of the troops themselves? That is always something you have to consider, because just because something works does not mean it is actually good. I feel like that is such an important thing when talking about optimal usage of strategies, troops, spells, anything in general. Especially right now, as the game is more on the easy side, that is something really important to be considered. But for this one, you can clearly tell it is going to be a 3-star for us. We have plenty of Super Yetis alive and everything. And now I feel like we should come to the conclusion. Is this equipment any good or is it bad? We have now taken a look at a couple of positive points and a couple of negative points. So for me, in general, this equipment is somewhere in the middle if I would need to rank it. Which means it's not too good, it's not too bad. It can be good in some situations, it can be really bad in others. My main issue with this equipment is the duration. I don't mind that the damage reduction is only 10% or the speed increase is only 9. I'm totally fine with that. But one of the core issues really is that 20 seconds, that is not long. Like, if you're facing 3 ice golems, you have 15 seconds or something already gone from that ability. Just think about that. That is crazy. Like, the clan castle itself counters 15%, alright, not 50%, but 15 seconds of your ability. That is crazy. So, yeah, and that's the main use case, right? Like, the jump effect is the main use case, or walking through the wall. So, again, I would say it's not too good. Not too bad. I think it is quite solid in some ground attacks, like the Super Yetis. It can have the value, but you can work your way around it because you could just use a jump instead and use with like another tome. And that's not the big issue I have there is, because you always have to compare those equipments with other equipments on that specific hero, which means you have to compare the Heroic Torch with Fireball, with Rage Gem, Eternal Tome, Healing Tome, all of those different abilities. And I feel like the other auras are just so good. It's so hard to compete with them. So for me right now, I would say if you don't have the action figure or the spiky ball, you should go with those. Those are top 5 equipments. They are insanely good. They're going to make your attacks easier if they are in your lineup for your strategies. But if you're a ground enjoyer and you just like to do ground attacks, then the Heroic Torch is actually maybe something for you. If you're an air attacker, just skip this equipment because it's not going to do pretty much anything for air attacks. I hope this was overall helpful, like a small advice here of like what you should go for there when it comes down to the equipments. And let's see if someone's coming up with something crazy. And so remember to use those magic snacks to give it a try on your own before you're putting any ores into those equipments. Really important. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next class video. Until then, see ya and bye-bye.